What is up, car addicts? In this video, we'll be talking about this week's Triple Money Event Week as well as the property and vehicle discounts. This event week is for June 23rd through June 29th, 2022. The current prize ride for this week is the Vapid FMJ. This car is primarily based on the 2017 Ford GT with the front end of the Aston Martin Vulcan. It has a normal price of about $1.7 million. To get this car for free, you have to place top 3 in a Pursuit Series race for 5 days in a row. And honestly, I feel 5 days in a row is a bit too harsh of a requirement, considering not everyone has the time to get online for that many consecutive days during the week. But anyways, in terms of performance, this car is in the supercar class and is pretty average in terms of performance around mid-pack, which honestly is pretty surprising and goes to show how many more fast cars they've added over the years. In terms of the test ride vehicles for this week, we have the Tailgater S, the ZR350, and the Calico GTF. And for next-gen console players, we have the Arbiter GT as the HSW test ride vehicle for this week. Now, in terms of the casino podium vehicle, we have the Dinka RT3000. So this car is primarily based on the Honda S2000 and has a normal price of about $1.7 million and a trade price of just under $1.3 million. In terms of performance, this car is in the sports car class and of course can be used in tuner races, and unfortunately it's not competitive in either of those two classes, but it's still a great looking car with great customization as well. Plus, remember that since this is a Tuner's DLC car, it does have that annoying performance nerf they put on all the Tuner's cars. So, starting off with the property discounts, we have 30% off the auto shops and the upgrades and renovations for them as well. Other than the mechanic side of the business, it also allows you to do the contracts, which are essentially mini heists and actually pay a decent amount when done solo. Also, for those of you who don't know, with the auto shop property, all the performance and paint colors are available in this shop, so theoretically if a level 1 owns this property, they can fully upgrade a car and put any paint color on it. Moving on to the vehicle discounts, we have discounts on almost all the Tuner's DLC vehicles from Legendary Motorsport website, and keep in mind that none of these are competitive in their respective classes, and they all unfortunately have the performance nerf, which disables the double clutch / mid-drive speed boost function. So starting off, we have 30% off the Cypher. So this is one of my favorite cars in terms of a design and customization from the Tuner DLC vehicles, and it's mainly based on the legendary BMW M2. Next up, we have 30% off the Growler. So this car is actually decently competitive in some Tuner races, and of course, like all the Tuner's vehicles, has great customization as well. Moving along, we have 30% off the Vector. So this car is in the sports car class and is also another one that is competitive in tuner races. Next up, we have 40% off the Comet S2, and this was my favorite vehicle from the Tuner's DLC until they nerfed it, which pretty much forced players to buy the Cabrio version instead, which is a lot faster in every way. However, just from a design and customization perspective, this car is amazing. Moving along, we have 40% off the Jester RR. This car is in the sports car class, and I believe this car has the highest top speed out of all the Tuner DLC cars, which is pretty cool. Next up, we have 30% off the ZR350. So this car is in the sports car class as well, and was arguably the most anticipated car to be added to the game at the time, being based on the legendary RX-7 FD. Next up, we have 40% off the Euros. So this one actually doesn't have much visual customization as other cars, but it's still an above average amount. Moving on to the 7 San Andreas website, we have 30% off the Fudo GTX. So this car is in the sports car class and is actually not much faster in comparison to the regular Fudo, but obviously it looks a lot better with the pop-up headlights and of course tons of customization. But with that tuner's nerf, as I talked about earlier, this car can't do what it's made for anymore, which is drifting. Bit unfortunate. And lastly, we have 40% off the Calico GTF. So this is one of the top performing cars for tuner races, and I highly recommend getting one if you don't own it already. In terms of miscellaneous discounts, we have 50% off the LS Car Meet membership, which I'm sure most of you have already. In terms of login items, you can get 100,000 GTA dollars just for logging in this week, which is pretty cool. In terms of triple money, we have triple money NRP on the Auto Shop Business customer deliveries. So these normally don't pay that well, but with triple money, it's actually not a bad way to earn some quick extra money if you happen to be in the area of your auto shop. In terms of double money, we have double money NRP on normal stunt races, Trevor Contact missions, Auto Shop Exotic Exports list, and lastly, the tuner contracts, which is actually pretty good considering the time invested in them and the fact that you can do them solo. Now obviously it's nowhere near as good as Gallo Perico, but it's still a good amount of money regardless, and something that's fun and different to do than the usual Cayo grind. Honestly, if you're a relatively new player, I would recommend buying an auto shop this week and then grinding the contracts and the customer deliveries as much as you can. Moving on to the Prime Gaming discounts for Prime Game members only. So again, same as usual, the only thing we have is the usual free $100,000 for logging in during the event week period. And lastly, this week's RC Bandito time trial is Power Station. This week's normal time trial is Down Chiliad, which is arguably the hardest time trial in the game. I highly recommend skipping this time trial for this week. It's not worth the time or the stress, but if you still want to do it, make sure to use either the Batty 801, the BF400, or the Sanchez for it. In terms of the premium race for this week, we have the Supercar race taking off. I highly recommend either the Emerus, Krieger, or Devastate for this race. And if you're on next gen, you want to be using the HSW Weaponized Ignis or the Devest 8. And lastly, for next gen console users, the HSW time trial for this week is Pacific Bluffs. As always, the HSW Hakachu Drag will be the best one for these. Every Friday I post a guide on how to easily beat all the time trials, so stay tuned for that if you're new. In terms of my vehicle discount pick of the week, I'm going to have to go with the Calico GTF. It's one of the top performing cars for tuner races, and is just a fast car in general. And for 40% off, I think this is a great deal for this car if you don't own one already. Anyways guys, hope this was helpful. Overall, I think this is a pretty good event week themed around the Tuners DLC, and also adding in some double money on stun races and Trevor Contact missions as well to give it some variety. I just wish we had more of a variety of discounts. For the past few weeks we've had discounts on mainly normal vehicles. I'd like to see some weaponized vehicles be on discount again. It's been a few weeks since we've seen that. But anyways guys, thanks for watching. Again, great event week, and I'll see you in the next one.